Two survivors back on American soil, getting treatment after a vicious attack. The wife of a surviving victim speaking by phone with NBC News.
I didn't know anything until Sunday morning when the FBI came. Everything just seemed so surreal to me.
Family member say Latavia Washington McGee, seen here in an ambulance, was joined by a cousin, Shaeed Woodard, and friends Zindell Brown and Eric James Williams. They took the days-long trip from their homes in South Carolina to Mexico for a cosmetic medical procedure. The four crossed the border into Matamoros, Mexico on Friday. Shortly after, gunmen fired at their white minivan and loaded the victims into the bed of a pickup truck. U.S. officials confirming 2 of the victims died from the attack.
We're providing all appropriate assistance to them and their families. We extend our deepest condolences to the family and loved ones of the deceased.
Matamoros is in the Mexican state of Tamaulipas, the site of ongoing violence between warring factions of the Gulf drug cartel.
They have no respect for the local law enforcement there, or there's collusion on the part of the law enforcement officials in Tamaulipas.
The DEA and the FBI are doing everything possible to dismantle and disrupt and ultimately prosecute the leaders of the cartels.
The wife of the injured survivor telling NBC News she spoke with her husband just before he went into surgery. Thankful he's alive, but heartbroken for the families of the victims who died. Now, the governor of Tamaulipas said one person who was guarding the kidnapping victims has been arrested. They were found in a wooden house outside of Matamoros. Over the past several days, investigators say they had been moved to several locations to prevent them from being found. Reporting from Washington, I'm Drew Petrimo, NBC News.
And Drew, what do we know about the investigation into who's responsible for this attack?
Yeah, well, right now, U.S. officials aren't saying much, but experts say there will be an exhaustive investigation, first to determine who the kidnappers were, but then also to try to figure out who they were working for. And at that point, we've heard law enforcement officials saying really the path forward and their goals going forward are to seek justice. All right, Drew Petrimo, live for us in D.C. Thank you so much.
Meanwhile, the state of travel in Mexico is up in the air now. The United States has had Matamoros under a level 4 travel advisory since October, meaning do not travel to that area. The map from the U.S. State Department illustrates in red the areas which are under do not travel advisories, and the yellow, which describes areas that travelers should exercise increased caution. But we spoke with Chardon resident Laura Holcomb, the owner of a travel agency. She says she just returned from a trip to Mexico and tells 3 News she felt safe the entire time.
It's a huge country. So we want to be very careful and when we're making our decisions to look at it realistically and just to see, how close was that? And is that an area that I should be going to?
Well, Holcomb visited Puerto Morelos 3 weeks ago, which is just south of Cancun. The area shown in yellow is part of the travelers should use caution when visiting status. But Holcomb has already booked another trip to Mexico and leaves on Monday.